It's Thursday, March the 7th. Lake level is a little over 909. It's come up about 6 inches or so since last week. So we're a little bit under about 5.5 feet below. Get a little bit more rain, it'll keep on coming up. Water temperature, it's warming up, especially these, and it's going to continue to warm the next few days. It was like 44 degrees when I put in this morning. And depends where you're at. It warmed up to about 48 degrees when I came off. Now it depends where you're at on the lake. The rivers are going to warm up a lot more where the stained water is. They'll probably be a little colder in the morning, but in the afternoon, especially with this weekend, we got a couple days. Well, even tomorrow, it's supposed to be in the 60s. And the fishing, last week I've been talking about how this is the time of year to come down and really catch some big fish. And I thought it would take, 22 to 25 pounds to win the tournaments last weekend. There was one Saturday and one Sunday. I was quite a ways off. It took 28 pounds with 5 fish to win Saturday and 28 pounds again on Sunday. Both of the tournaments had 4 or 5 fish over 8 pounds weighed in. There was one over 9 pounds weighed in Sunday. I think we had 18 and some change Saturday. We finished up 11th, and then we had just under 26 pounds Sunday rather, which normally will win just about anything, but we ended up second place. But anyways, the quality has been phenomenal. It is by no means easy, but what's awesome about being out there this time of year is any cast can be a 6, 7, or 8 pounder right now. And they're being caught lots of different ways, different depths. There's not, I'm making it sound like it's easy. It's like I say, it's by no means easy. But this fish, some of these quality fish are coming shallow. Some of them are coming extremely deep. And I'll get into that a little bit. But before I get into that, there's a little benefit tournament on March the 30th out of Cape Fair Marina. It's for this 13-year-old girl who's dyslexic, which is a learning disability. She loves to fish. I've met her dad and her granddad, and what they're doing is they're doing a little benefit tournament out of Cape Fair. It's a $70 entry, and I think it's going to be about a 60% payback. 40% is going to go to her, and what they're trying to do is raise money for the special education that she needs. So if you don't have anything going on that weekend, this is a really great cause to raise money for, and I'll be talking about it a little bit more next week as well. We get closer to it. And another thing we're going to try to do, or my wife's going to do it, is we're thinking of building a page on our website which will show all the local tournaments coming up on Table Rock. And then hopefully if we can get the tournament companies to send us the results, the first of the week we'll have the results of them tournaments, and we'll do all the little small tournaments up to the big ones. So like a lot of times I find myself on Monday and Tuesday I got to go to each individual tournament site to see what the weights were and who did what. What we're hopefully trying to do is put it all on one page, and we're not going to do the other area lakes, just what's going on here on Table Rock. But getting back to the fishing, like Saturday, we only had 7 bites all day, but a couple of them were 6 pounders, and then the Sunday when we had a little over 25 pounds, almost 26, I think we had 8 bites. We're not getting a ton of bites. And then I guided Monday, and my client had one over 6, and I had a 7. And that particular day we had 5 bites. So I'm not getting a lot of bites, but I'm catching them on an Alabama rig, some on a jerkbait, and today I actually caught some fish on a grub. Now on the grub I'm throwing a 4-inch grub, a 4 or 5-inch, either a salt and pepper, which I've talked about in the reports earlier, on a 1/4 ounce jig head, and the other one is a smoke with a black flake, either a 4 or 5. And something that I was playing with today too is, we're throwing these Swim Fluke Juniors for our baits on this Alabama rig, so I've been trying a Swim Fluke Junior on the same grub head. Now some of these fish are coming out over deep timber, like in the centers of the creeks. Some are on main lake points, secondary points. And well, I'm having to fish the bait down anywhere from 20 to 40 feet. Now, it seems like later in the day when that water warms up, I'm starting to catch some fish off of just flat gravel banks where I'm setting the boat in 20 to 30 foot and counting the bait down to about 8 or 10. And mainly what I'm looking for is points and pockets that are leading into where I think the fish are going to spawn. And one of the key deals seems to be, and we talk about this all the time, is either having a creek channel or deep water pretty close to where you're fishing. Because them fish are still pretty lethargic. So if you can find an area where they don't have to move too far from that deep water to come up to feed, I think your chances are a little bit better. Now, a couple weeks ago, when we had these warming trends, there was a lot of fish caught in the afternoons up in the rivers, like the Upper James, the Upper Kings River, and up in Long Creek. The water, got up to 50 degrees up there once that sun get up, and that should happen this weekend. Now, I know the guys that were catching them up there, the fish were so shallow, they said they were breaking their bills on their mega bass and spro jerkbaits. Some of them were catching them on wiggle warts. Now, I haven't talked much about a wiggle wart at all. To be honest with you, the last week I haven't thrown it. I mean, when you get hooked on catching a 6 or 7 pound fish on that Alabama rig or a jerkbait, it's kind of hard for me to lay it down and pick up the crankbait. Especially with the water warming up, the crankbait should be a big player as well. I just feel like I'm catching bigger fish that are what we call staging. Some of them are coming up out of the gizmo. Some of them are coming up out of the deeper water, and some of them are on the secondary points back in there. I guess it looks like Gizmo got a little excited about something there.
He's scratching his butt.
But anyways, and there's no certain area of the lake. I think the same thing's happening all over the lake, whether you're down by the dam or you're up there by Shell Knob or up around Ants Creek. But I can't emphasize enough, the key, or at least the key for me, has been take your slowest speed and cut it in half. Now, there might be some guys out there that are power fishing and fishing real fast. I'm trying to hit a lot of spots in a day, trying to just key on, like where the channel swings come in and out on the banks. And when I get in these areas, I'm trying to get myself to fish as slow as I can to get the bites. Now, it's kind of hard to do that when you're not getting bit, because the less you get bit, it seems like you're always looking ahead at the next spot you're going to throw to, and you start working your bait, too fast, you're moving the boat too fast. Now, I'm not finding that the wind is definitely helping on the jerkbait. And you'll find later in the day, look for some of those cedar trees and pole timber trees further back into creeks with a little bit shallower water. As the water warms up, them fish are moving higher up in the water column. So if you get a chance to get out there this weekend, we should have 2 more weeks of really good opportunities to catch big fish. Now, as things get a little bit warmer, we're going to start catching more numbers of fish. They're going to be a little bit more predictable. But right now, we're not getting as many numbers, but we are getting the size. And one thing, too, that I'm finding, if I get bit in a spot one day, it seems like it's hard to repeat it in the same spot the next day. So much of it, I think, is timing. It's when them fish move up in that water column, and there's some shad in the area, and they're ready to feed. Now, I had another guy email me a question about the difference on, he likes the night fish in April on the full moons. And his question was fluorocarbon versus mono. Well, to be honest with you, I don't fish at night anymore. But with the fluorocarbon, you're going to feel the bites a lot better. And I don't know if they even make a high-vis fluorocarbon where you can see it with your black light. So I wish I had a better answer for you, but like I say, I don't fish at night anymore. So, till next week, good luck, good fishing.